I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So, I'm worried about Monster Hunter Wilds DLC when it comes to Master Rank, for only one reason, and that is in the past 2 games there has been an almost mandatory mechanic that you need to engage with to tackle Master Rank hunts. With Monster Hunter World you had the Clutch Claw that allowed you to latch onto areas of a monster and tenderize them so that you could do more damage to that body part for a period of time till it wore off. I don't think this is outrageous that you need to do this, as it adds an almost strategic element to the hunt, in theory, but when it comes down to gameplay it just becomes this latch on, tenderize, attack, repeat. You can also latch onto the monsters with slinger ammo, and if they aren't enraged you can launch them into a wall to knock them down and give you a couple of seconds to either buff, heal or attack. I believe these are really disliked features with Monster Hunter World because they force you into an almost always needing to use it. But for myself, I was very neutral about this. It doesn't hinder my experience with the game. Now Rise on the other hand had Spirit Birds, and they're in the base game and you can take them or leave them, really that's down to you. But with Master Rank hunts it becomes this pre-hunt minigame of collecting Spirit Birds to have boosted stats for that hunt, to have higher max health, stamina and boosts to your attack and defense. It isn't needed for all monsters, but when you start getting into fights that can 2 or 3 hit you with all these additional buffs, it becomes painfully obvious that collecting Spirit Birds is needed just to survive making an error. It's not bad the first few times or when you go against a monster you know you can evade so you can just leave it, but when you're on your 13th hunt streak to get that one rare drop from that endgame monster to make some new boots, it really drags down the experience. By the way, please excuse my routing for collecting the Spirit Birds. I've not done it in a while and I don't remember the routes I used to take to make it more efficient. I enjoyed Rise a lot with its more arcadey gameplay, and I loved the Wirebug additions with its skills and movements and riding monsters, but Spirit Birds are the worst part about the entire game. So I guess the only question I have is what would be a good addition to the game? While they don't need to add something, I find Monster Hunter games get an extremely substantial amount of content with their DLC. And adding a new mechanic that can be used and built around for Master Rank seems like a likely option to breathe new life into the gameplay. For me, I think DLC would be the perfect time to introduce a new weapon. This gives all players something fresh to play around with, if they choose to, and realistically that's the main reason why I don't think they will. Because you need to want to try out the new weapon, and that leaves everyone who doesn't with a gap in their experience. But if you did choose to pick up the weapon, throughout Monster Hunter Wilds you're showered in so many materials I don't think you would really need to grind out that much to get something competent for the DLC. And if you don't feel confident with the weapon, you can always run low and high rank missions to build up some level of muscle memory. Half the fight is knowing what the monster can do and you'll have that locked down, so it would all be about figuring out this new weapon. This might be wishful thinking, but I believe that this would be a better addition than something that becomes mandatory in Master Rank. I could be completely wrong though, and what they add with the expansion could be loved across the board, but the track record across the past 2 titles doesn't fill me with confidence. Would love to be wrong about it though. Just some thoughts, felt like talking about it, and I appreciate you listening. If you have any idea of what they could add to improve the game, then drop a comment, maybe it's better than my weapon idea. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and or evening, and I'll catch you next time.